Hey guys, Coach Carney here. For this YouTube video, we're just looking at it's a general mobility routine. Just aim towards that if you don't have a lot of time, you just want to get the most beneficial stretches done. These are some really good ones just to open up mainly through your hips. If you're suffering from some back pain, tight hips, sit down a lot of time of the day, these ones will work out really well for you. Super simple to do at home. Read through the description that we'll have underneath this video. It'll just explain a little bit more about the movements in there and a couple of extra tips as well. Yeah. But we're going through 4 movements through here. I'll try to show you some variations and then try them out again at home. Super simple to do. This first one, just find a bit of space on the floor. You'll start off in this position down in here. First one to go for is with your knees slightly apart. If you find that you do have pain on your knees, you can find a pillow, some jumpers, a towel, some sort of pad in there. What you're aiming to do is keep your feet down onto the floor and you're rocking your hips back and forth, just like that. Now if you notice, I'm trying to keep my spine in the same spot as I'm moving. Don't rock back and forth like this, yeah? Keep your abs turned on and you're pushing your bum as far back as you can. You'll feel this stretching on the inside of your thigh here. Okay, this is perfect for trying to teach your body how to move and keep your spine nice and stable and move your hips. A lot of people try to tend to move at their spine. I know I do, and it's not a good habit to get into. Okay, so we want to load up in the glutes and in the hamstrings, and you'll feel a stretch through here. Really good practice to do. So that's that one in here, rocking back and forth. Then, try out this one here, with your knees a little bit closer together, your toes pointed out, doing the same thing, rocking back and forth. This should feel really weird. It's an internal rotation of your hips. You're gonna feel this in some weird spots through your hips and in the back of your bum, okay? Similar thing, 10 to 15 rocks back and forth. You're not allowed to let your spine move, and I absolutely suck at this one. Moving back and forth just like that. Ugh. Once you've gotten good at them and keeping your spine stable as you're moving your hips, try out the same thing, but with a leg out to the side, okay? Keeping that foot flat, it should be in line with your knee and in with your hip. Have this knee slightly out to the side, abs turned on, rocking back and forth. Having the one leg, it turns on the stretch a whole lot more and works a whole lot better. If you find that with both knees down to the ground is pretty easy, try that one out. That should work pretty well. Okay, cool. Moving on. Most people have a couch at home. This one's called the couch stretch, and it's perfect if you spend a lot of time sitting down throughout the day. We're aiming to stretch this muscle on the front of your hip, called your hip flexor, which generally gets tight from sitting down for most of the day. So again, you can pad this up with a jumper, towel, pillow, whatever you'd like to use into here, but we're finding this position in here. You can do this in between an ab break as well, just on each leg there. So, what we're trying to focus on for this stretch, squeezing your glute and pushing your hip forward. You're aiming to feel it stretch down the front there. You might find that it stretches down your quad, but that's fine. The main position you want to be in for this one is with your hips, helps if you hold onto the bones on there. Pretend you've got a bucket for hips and you want to spill water out the back of them. So you're going to try to rotate underneath like that. Now that should turn on a big stretch through your hip flexor. It should suck. So you're going to have to keep your abs turned on a little bit and tucking your hips underneath. When you've gotten into that position, you've found that you're into that hip flexor. Another way to turn this on, to open up the hip flexor and stretch it more, is to raise up the hand on the same side as the hip is feeling a stretch and lean away from the hip. You want to lean to the side and to the back, so you're sort of going 45 degrees away. You're trying to get your ribs away from that hip. So, spill water out the back of your bucket, pushing forward, hand up and lean away through there. Should feel a stretch through the front of your stomach there, all the way down the front of that hip. That's just perfect. If you've got some back pain as well, that should help relieve some of it. That's a course. So that's the hip flexor one on there. This next one, you can find some space on the floor. 2 ways to do it. I'll show you the second one in a second. It's called the pigeon stretch. This will stretch your glute. I'm going to try to get into this position down into here. So what I'm trying to do is have my shin and my foot nice and flat onto the floor, leaning over my leg like this. If this foot is further away from my hip, it's going to stretch more into my glute.
which I'm gonna try to do. All the way up into there, and then trying to lean over. And that sucks quite a bit, okay? So have it in a spot where it's manageable for you to relax through. What you're trying to do is push your hips down onto the floor. And that should turn on quite a bit. You can do it sitting up into here. I find leaning over helps a lot. Change the angle by, if you're leaning over, you can come out over your knee, a little stretch in a different spot, or out over your ankle like that, okay? You have to play around a little bit with that one, but try and emulate what you can see here. And a way to progress that is, if you can find something similar to this or on the edge of the couch, exactly the same thing, ankle, shin, everything onto the bench there. You can hold down some stuff and then sitting through, leaning over. I find it's a much easier way to get at the stretch, and you can manipulate it a little bit more to get what you need from it. Okay? So that's the pigeon stretch in there. The last stretch, now we open up our hips, is generally most people will be in a forward rolled posture like this on their shoulders. Super easy one is find a door frame in your house and then opening up the muscles on the front of your chest. So to be able to do that, you're going to turn into this stretch into here. You're going to stretch all through that pec muscle on the front, possibly some on the shoulder as well, okay? To be able to do it, lock your shoulders back and down into that position there, and try to have your pinky into the door frame like that, and turn away. You should feel it stretching through the front. If you're not backing down in that position, you might find your shoulders rolled forward, and you'll be going like that, and it might feel a little bit weird in the joint on the top of the shoulder. So make sure you're leaning away and you're opening up your chest to the stretch. 20 seconds on each side, every single door frame that you walk through in the hands. You'll be able to open up those shoulders, and it should feel really good.